Good morning, YouTube. How is everyone on this fine quarantine morning? Yeah, so it's quite beautiful outside at the moment. It's been like it for about a week now, hasn't it, really? So, yeah, trying to tease us to go outside when we need to be good citizens and stay in and play our video games. But I'm sure we can do it. It's such a hard life at the moment, isn't it? So, yeah, all last night I've been thinking about these VR responses that are doing the rounds just recently. And I've really been, really enjoying watching them. The first one is a quick one, which is for Nova Bugs. Top four, what's it called? Top four collection goals. And I thought, to be honest, this isn't anything for me. I've no collection goals other than getting games to play. Other than a couple of little subsets that I know everyone will probably be shouting at me at the moment for, which are my double case PlayStation 1 games, really. So, yeah, once that gets done, I've not really got many subset goals, really. Although I've kind of got one kind of coming, but I'm not too sure. I don't want to say it because once I say it, that means I've got to go for it. I don't want to go for it. Honest. So, yeah, just playing games, buying games to play, and actually playing the games. That's the goals that I set myself. So, yeah, that was a nice quick one, really. So, the big one, which is to David Retro Games Played Badly. Top 10 games you found while collecting. Now that one's a really good one because that just embodies really what collecting should be about. And that is actually the games themselves, not the fancy packaging or whatever. It's getting round to playing good games. And yeah, we buy a lot of dodgy ones on the way and to find the ones that we really love. And the ones I've got in front of me, well, kind of not sort of in front of me, as you'll see in a bit, they are really ones that stuck with me like for quite some time, and ones that I never really played, at least never played when I was a younger youth. So yeah, what games are we talking about? Well, we'll start off with a bit of modern first, semi-modern. I mean, it's 3 generations ago now. Is it 3 generations? Maybe even four. Depends on how you look at it. And that is the DS Castlevanias. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Symphony of the Night was a game that I touched on and I knew it was a good game, but I never really played it until now. So, but I have played it, which is why it's not on my list. But the DS ones are very criminally underrated. A lot of people, well, there depends on what circles you go around. Some people will absolutely rave about them, while some people just dismiss them as just little handheld games. But these are just true successors to Symphony of the Night and absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, because they're not numbered, I completely forget which one's which. But I think looking at the back, I think this was the best one I've played so far. I've still not played the third one yet. That one's a little bit expensive. But yeah, this one is absolutely great. Well, both of them are great, to be honest. They're both as good as each other, but this has got a bit of a DS functionality in it, which should be terrible, but it's actually not too bad. It's not too badly implemented, where you cast spells by drawing on the screen. Yeah, sounds terrible, but actually not too bad. And the fact that the gameplay itself is true Symphony of the Night style Metroidvania goodness, you kind of can overlook them little things that you not everyone's always 100% about. But yeah, I think it helps immerse yourself into these games. So yeah, really good games. And as I say, until I started collecting DS, I think that's when I started finding out about these, because I knew about the mainline Castlevanias that I've played many times before. So next up, we have got a Master System game now. Now this is Sega's answer. Well, both I've got two Master System games, and I'm going to say the same tagline. This was Sega's answer to Zelda. So the game in question is Golvelius. This is absolutely fantastic. Again, I never knew about this when I was a kid. I don't think I've even seen screenshots or anything. But this basically is Zelda 1 and 2 crossed together. So you've got the best of both, really. So it's kind of got like an overworld top-down view from the original Zelda on the NES. And then when you go into the dungeons, you either get one or two things. You kind of get like a side-scrolling level like in Zelda 2, or you get like a sort of like a vertical shooter almost. But yeah, the visuals very remind me again like Wonder Boy as well, especially with the snakes. If you play this, you'll know what I mean. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. I recently completed it and I enjoyed every last bit of it. Absolutely great game. it probably could even be better than Zelda, the original Zelda at least anyway. Not The Link to the Past, but the original Zelda, I think it probably could be. The only thing is the music's not quite there compared to the original Zelda. Although I think the MSX2 version, there's quite a few different versions and then quite a few iterations that we never got over here. Over in England, we only got the Master System version. But yeah, the MSX ones, I think they pushed it a bit further and bit further every time it got released. I think it's only the same game, but then it's got like a few extra levels and stuff like that. But yeah, cracking game. Definitely recommend getting this, especially if you like top-down adventure games. And next up, we'll see, we're going to do the same tagline again. Sega's answer to Castlevania. 2 Castlevania style games in a row. So this is more traditional, where it's kind of like you've got one route and that's the way you go. A lot easier than Castlevania, so a lot more accessible for a lot of people, because I know sometimes people can get put off a bit by the original Castlevanias. I think first time I played this, I got right to the end, and I don't think I completed it, but I got right to the end, which for an old 8-bit kind of game, that is quite unprecedented, really. It's always about like repetition to learn the levels. But yeah, this is easy enough to pretty much do quite easily. But the style, the substance, and the gameplay all is what shines on this. And yeah, it's not got a whip or anything. It's got a sword, and so it's not exactly a true rip-off of Castlevania. But the style and everything like that, the stairwells, there's quite a few nods. Well, yeah, rip-offs of Castlevania. Fantastic game. Definitely recommend getting this as well. And we're going to go back to the DS again, and the first import. In fact, I try and stay away from imports if I can, because if I did, I could just do a whole video of just imports that I found along the way, because obviously that's what I'm loving at the moment, because it's like learning about video games again. So yeah, anyway, the game in question is Nights on the Nightmare. This is a fantastic game. So what I originally heard for this, what kind of drew it for me, is it's a tactical RPG, but it's so different than other tactical RPGs. And what people said was it's a bit like a shooter, sort of a bullet hell shooter mixed with it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's quite like that, but it's quite a lot of hecticness going on. And yeah, you really need to get into this. So it's sort of a very dark styled RPG, which is something I really enjoy. It's an artless game, so you know it's going to be good. And yeah, you need that touchscreen just to draw like these. I think you had to draw the bullets and stuff like that to kind of contain them. It was quite a while ago since I played this. I actually my car broke down, and I had a couple of weeks where I had to go on the train to get to work, which took me 2 hours each way. So over them 2 weeks, I nearly completed it. I think it was about 40-50 hour game, really. But yeah, totally enjoyed it. It just made my train journeys just go really quickly. But yeah, there's a PSP version of this as well. Again, not over here in England. As you can tell, this is an American one. But yeah, fantastic game. Definitely recommend getting this. And with DS's, it's all region free, so you can play this nice and easy without the need of any conversion. So next up, we've got a couple of NES games here, although I don't have the NES themselves, because I don't collect them anymore. So the first one I'm going to be using as a prop, a Game Boy game of Gargoyle's Quest. Now the game what I'm thinking about is Gargoyle's Quest 2 on the NES, a game that I never knew about. I actually heard about this one, and I think I even played a friend's version of this one. I think the cover with the green gargoyle really put me off this. So what, if you don't know what Gargoyle's Quest is basically it's a sub game. What is it called? A side project. Hang on, spin-off. That's the one. A spin-off of Ghosts and Goblins, where you play one of the enemies, Firebrand, which is that little red devil that goes up and down, and that's why it kind of puts you off when you see that green one. He should have been red. That is Firebrand. But yeah, anyway, I'm talking about the Game Boy one too much. The NES version just took what was good about this one and then just amplified it. So what was good, it was sort of like puzzle platforming, because you had a certain time that you could float for, basically, because as Firebrand, he wasn't very good at flying. So you'd have to power him up as you went along, so you could access new areas and everything like that. But then it was also a bit like a top-down RPG, where you had an overworld and everything like that. So yeah, it just put a couple of genres together that I really love, and just made him like really shine. I eventually knew about Demon's Crest. What's it called? Demon Blazon? I don't know. I'm thinking of the Japanese one. Demon's Crest. That's the one on the Super Nintendo. I knew about that one, but the ones that were before it, I definitely didn't know about the NES one. And it was only when I started collecting a game when I actually got it and I played it, and I was like, I can see why this game is worth so much now, because it's not cheap. I think it cost me a pretty penny back then. So God knows what it's like now. I'm sure Al can tell us. And the next one, I don't think this one's too expensive, but unfortunately I still don't have it on the NES, and that is Darkwing Duck. So I've got the Game Boy version, which is just a watered down port of the NES one. Still cracking game, but yeah, Darkwing Duck looks like a cheap Disney tie-in, and it kind of is in some ways, but that's the reason why it's a cheap tie-in. It makes it pretty good, and that is the fact that it's based on the Mega Man 3 engine. So they took a cheap, Capcom took a cheap way out, and then took a great game engine that was already good and tried and tested, and put a skin over it and made a flipping great game. Thing is, it's not just a straight Mega Man like rip-off. He actually has like a sort of a grappling hook that makes it a little bit different. So yeah, great game. Absolutely really recommend this if you like your Mega Man, maybe Captain Commando style. It's not really like Captain Commando, very different. It's very more linear than that. But yeah, absolutely great game, and I kind of really liked Darkwing Duck back in the olden days as well. So that really helps with enjoying it, because you got to like the theme a little bit as well. And talking about theme, one of my favorite cartoons from the 90s, probably the early 90s. Let's have a look. Oh, it says 2004 in here. But again, it's another NES game that I don't own, and that is Bucky O'Hare. One of my favorite cartoons as a kid, no doubt. If only it had more series on it. That's the only problem. It only had this single one, didn't it, really? So yeah, absolutely love this game. Sorry, I absolutely would have loved this game as a kid if I'd only known about it, and that probably is the reason why it's quite rare. It's basically Konami's answer to Mega Man. So yeah, it's pretty much a rip-off of Mega Man in the fact that the only difference is I think you pretty much have all 4 characters at the start, so you can change between your weapon subsets and everything like that near the beginning. And so basically you got you play as all 4 of the main good guys, but each one of them have all got their own abilities to do different things. One can jump higher, I think. One's got like better weapons, and you couldn't just play this game just as Bucky O'Hare and complete. You actually need to use all the characters, which in Mega Man style you could just use Mega Man and then get through and complete it. It just makes it a little bit harder. So it does actually give a bit of a change. Like Mega Man, you get to choose like the different planets that you want to go to first. Again, ripping it off heavily, but it's definitely got a bit of it's definitely got that Konami flavoring to make it very unique. Again, another expensive game, and I'd love to own it again. I did used to own this back in there, but unfortunately I don't now, which is a shame. Right, one that I do own, and it's right here in front of me, and I've only just recently got this, so you've probably all seen it on a pickup recently. But I've absolutely fallen in love with it, really, and it's another import. So the game in question is Macross Scrambled Valkyrie. Absolutely fallen in love with this game. So this basically is, people slag off a lot of Super Nintendo shooters for being slow, got a lot of slowdown, and sort of like a bit crappy, or not quite the same as the arcade counterparts, because a lot of them were just arcade conversions. But this one really takes it into overdrive, and unfortunately it only came out in Japan. But yeah, this basically plays like a Mega Drive shooter. What people love about Mega Drive shooters, it's got the speed, but the thing is, it ups it with the color and the soundtrack that the Mega Drive just couldn't achieve. absolutely flipping adore this game. Basically, you've got a different, you can have, I think you can either choose as a Macross or a Valkyrie. I don't really follow Macross, to be honest. I've never been that big a anime fan. I did used to touch on anime, but it was mainly Guyver and stuff like that. But I never got into the Guyver series, so I don't fully understand it all. And it's but the thing is, what you need to understand is this is a good game, really. So that's all you need to understand, isn't it, really? So yeah, you can choose between these different mechs. Basically, they all have different loadouts, and you have basically 3 different weapons that you use across the game, and you basically need to use all 3 different weapons to even succeed. I've not quite completed it yet. It's quite a hard game, really. Starts off deceptively easy, and then just kicks your ass, which, like all good shooters, well, that's what you need. You just need to have that repetition, and I'll probably play this in a bit, to be honest, because I'm touching it, holding it, and I'm just really wanting to play it again. So yeah, really glad that I've had this in my collection. Now, this game, some people would consider as amazing, and that game is Call of Duty Black Ops. What the fuck is this doing in here? Don't know how someone keeps putting that in my flipping pickup, well, VR response videos. It seems to creep in all the time. Who's doing it? What I should have said is, this game is flipping amazing. This game is fantastic. Rogue Galaxy. To be honest, I never really played many PlayStation 2 games back as a lad. Well, I suppose I was a young adult back then. But when I got this, I heard a lot of good things, and it was one of the first, well, I think it is the first RPG I fully played from start to finish on the PlayStation 2. And wow, what a game. Well, actually, Persona 4 would have been the first one. This is the second one, and I absolutely flipping adore this. Persona 4 was good, but it's too based in school yards, and I don't know, I just felt a bit wrong playing it sometimes. But this I didn't. This is, you're basically a space pirate traveling different parts of the galaxy, as it says in the title there. And yeah, it's an action RPG, so it's not like a turn-based one. It's almost like a hack and slash, I would say. So it's very accessible to non-RPG loving people, but obviously you do need to do a bit of grinding to level up to eventually succeed. Fantastic game, definitely worth getting, and I don't think it's even that expensive. I'd imagine, I think probably around the £15 mark. Problem is, I don't really know what the price of PlayStation 2 games are anymore. And lastly, probably a bit of a damn squid now, but I actually fell in love with this game, and that is the Red Star on the PlayStation 2. I've seen it in a few people's Hidden Gems videos and everything like that, but got around to playing it, and yeah, I can see why now. It's sort of like a isometric dual stick shooter, and yeah, amazing. It says a cross between Streets of Rage and Ikaruga, ingenious and fresh. Now, if that doesn't entice you into playing it, then nothing will. 2 fantastic games. Yeah, it's sort of like it's not just a twin stick shooter. Yeah, you've got like melee sort of attacks as well. Really good. Gets absolutely bonkers hard near the end. But definitely recommend getting this, because I don't really hear that many people talking about it. I know people talk about this all the time, and a few of the other games I've shown, but not really so much this. And I think you can buy this for less than a £5. I'm sure I got this for like £2 at CEX a few years ago, so I don't think it's gone up much more. So yeah, go out and grab that. So yeah, thanks again to Dave for bringing this subject up, because it's really good to talk about the games that you've really enjoyed. The thing is, ask me again in a year, 2 years time, and this list could probably change, because I picked up so many games that I've still yet to play. I thought I know that there's probably some that would definitely replace some of these, like probably maybe the Red Star, even though it is a great game, but I've not yet got around to playing them. They're all stored in the archives, ready to actually be played. But that being said, these are my current top 10, or at least 10 right now, that I'm really enjoyed over the last few years of collecting. So yeah, thanks for that. Thanks again, David, and I hope to see someone else, well, other people's top 10s, because again, this is what we're all here for, to play the games, not just store them on our shelves. Anyway, hope everyone's keeping well. I'll see you later. Later, bye.